So the first international break, Rabba, first international break. Everybody's going on the first international break, and I mean, first of all, before we get into anything BIA about this conversation, what we're having, I want to pick your thoughts. First thoughts, and see in the comment section. Go in there, let me know what you think about this one because they're very important to me. And you see how I feel and how you feel a bit different. How everybody else feels, how Obia Ehuniama different perspectives really do differ. Where do you stand? First international break. Enzo Maresca. First 3 games in the English Premier League. Won 1, 6-2 against Wolves. Lost 1, 2-0 against the champions Manchester City. And then drawn 1-1 draw against a Crystal Palace side almost every season. Not Chelsea, Echeno. How are you going to rate it? Where do you stand on Enzo Maresca in the first 3 games of Abo? How do you feel about the season about Enzo Maresca and what he can possibly do at Chelsea? Do you believe that he has the man to take Chelsea to where they want to get to? Now, you don't necessarily have trust in your Enzo Maresca ever because, see, for me, the most important thing about Enzo Maresca, and Makane has said several times, is about communication and the clarity of thought. I have listened to Enzo Maresca several times, and I compare him to a lot of the top managers who I say that all of them have good communication skills and they have clarity of thought. They know exactly what they want. They know exactly how they want it. They know exactly how they want to get their players together. And Enzo Maresca has been good in that regard. Again, there is something that we call the pragmatism for these JPD coaches. JPD, the juego de posición, essentially about positional play. Positional play. Most of these managers, Pep Guardiola, Momo, play a lot of the ball. Mikel Arteta, Enzo Maresca, all of these top managers are like most of the ball to manipulate play whilst having the ball. Most of the times, they are too tactical that they fail to be pragmatic. And I think that the best managers are those that can marry pragmatism with the tactical ability in games. How can you go into games and then be pragmatic? And whilst you are being pragmatic also, you can make sure that at the end of the day, you have what it takes to also control the game using your positional play and using the tactical and technical ability of the games and how you want to play. Pragmatism of Enzo Maresca in games, it's very important. How you get managers to be very pragmatic, because you can be tactical, you can have a lot of the ball, but if you're not pragmatic, if you don't have a very good rest defense, teams will beat you with counter attack. When you're very good without the ball, when you're aggressive in winning duels, you are definitely going to be hurt. And that's why, for me, I've said it's important. It's one of the biggest things for JPD managers, and it's a challenge for them as well. How your teams can be pragmatic and making sure that you concede late chances, concede late goals. You have a solid and resolute defense. Now, look at the comparison between Mikel Arteta teams. Mikel Arteta is somebody that came from Josep Guardiola's school, but essentially a very, very pragmatic manager. One manager that's difficult for you to score against, set pieces, whatnot, or almost impossible for you to get a goal against Arsenal. Consistently, they are conceding the less XGs. You look at Arne Slot's Liverpool as 3 games into the season. All of them were 9 points, 0 goals conceded, and they've conceded the less XGs. And the conversation is simple. Ushe Obi said Arne Slot, their plan is that whilst he knows that he wants to play the direct football in between the channels without the ball, he sets pressing, traps for the opponent. In total traps, he will read the ball back and he will hurt you, and that will prevent you from getting a lot of quality chances against him. And then again, you will have a lot of issues. For me, it's very important, and that's one of the things I like about Enzo Maresca. Starting inside the last game of the preseason against Inter, where he was playing against a 5 in the middle, where he knew that he had to change something. He knew he was going to come against teams like this. Going around the block was very important. Went into a diamond shape, controlled the game largely against Crystal Palace also. So we should give into detail, and you want to really be honest with yourself. You can tell closely. So Enzo Maresca did control the game largely, especially in the first half. I think that in about 3 years, this is the first time I've seen Manchester Chelsea first half game. They're very well controlled. You're not worried when you're watching the game. You know that this team is in total control of the ball. We're in total control without the ball, with the counter press and press, with a rest defense shape. The high line, the line is not so high. The aggressiveness of Wesley Fofana, and then the recovery pace, Nana or lacking on that, he's getting it back. The line breaking ability of Levi Kowal when he gets the ball and he's able to break the lines in that regard. You could tell. Say team league control, and that's the most important thing. I think say for me and almost everybody also, and Chelsea preseason matches. One of the things that was very clear and said, see, everybody was worried about Chelsea's OOP, and the OOP is an out of possession ship. Say Chelsea any ball now, then on where? How do they control the game? Because Oshe game at Chelsea against Celtic. Now Celtic Chelsea is a four goals or Honor. Man City sharing 4. Now conceding all of those goals. The first question was about the out of possession shape. And se Osho beat Enzo Maresca mo, like let me compare it to Mr. Mauricio Sarri. Sarri move a lot of the ball. They are very tactical. They want to control games in that regard. But again, without the ball, they have issues. They are not resolute. They are not aggressive without the ball. They don't win duels. They rest defense. They're easy to play through. And once the managers beat Pep Guardiola, any Mikel Arteta, any even Enzo Maresca, those guys that want to play in a game, the positional play. One of the things that they seek to do with their out of possession, and they say, who say the Chelsea build up a 3 and a wedge the one. So Levi most of the times Wesley Fofana Levi ball as a CCB. There's Wesley Fofana as an LC as an RCB. That's a right centre back. Then there's Marco Crebo as an LCB. 3 in one. Then maybe Malo Gusto invert here. Or become Moise Caicedo. So Malo Gusto in one means that the 2 no one name that's Romeo Lavia and Moise Caicedo. Now so Nipa 5 with that any friend rest defense. Chelsea equal attack now. Any friend rest defense players not cover no more there. Say okay, defense not that. You see, I actually never attack. So these guys job and they say they have to think of say okay, say bon you lose what then you be. No. That's a rest defense. Until you guys could be rest here. The defense is resting. They are not working right now. It's the attack that is working. It's that time no. The job of Caicedo, Lavia, especially they are the leaders of the rest defense. First job is counter press. Counter press. Say the ball didn't break you anymore. It's only aggressive. No move them, no much ball, no ten more. So they might attack inside the it's only the production line for the attack, which is very important. Very, very important. It's almost inside training. And the 3 job is that you also cover for the 2. You also come in aggressive, but out of that 3 aggressive. No, there is one of them, which is the CCB, center back, and that's Levi Cole. Or no, initially aggressive, baby. Except Westy for fun, they are aggressive. Kuku Bini Boneba, not Bono. So on one team, then Abanti and Levi Cole now becomes the sweeper. Or no, you mean is simple. Say Westy for fun and Timaji Bono, you need to sweep. Or going aggressively a trainer, you need to come in and make sure that you win the ball. And of course, say it happened on the right hand side, and that's Wesley Fofana. It's happening on the left hand side. Then it's a brighter friend, Marco Correa to do that job for Chelsea Football Club, which is very important. Until you look at the rest defense and the job that Chelsea have done with the rest defense since the season began, you can see that the team is being pragmatic. And now me share the list of teams who are considered less XGs in the season. And Chelsea can be. The only problem is that Chelsea have considered more goals out of teams who are considered less XGs now. Chelsea have considered 5 goals in 3 games, which is not good. But it's something that Enzo Maresca would have to look at, the goals that they concede. But see, you look at the average here as a goal, for me, I don't think say necessarily will be fault or a fault of structure. Again, you go back and look at the Wolverhampton Wanderers goals from now. These are set pieces goals that are consistent. Watch the goals now. Most of the goals that Chelsea have considered have come from either the set piece in itself or the afterplay of the set piece, which is something that the team really has to look at. But then again, you look at these things and you understand that okay, team no baby, the growth is in there because first game at Chelsea against Manchester City, Chelsea lose by 2-0. XG at Chelsea creating 1.01 and Man City creating 0.77 XG. Now Chelsea have 1 big chance, Man City have 1 big chance. Now something is clear. You can see say Man City, once they created a less XGs than Chelsea, they scored twice. Of course, the brilliant shot from our branch friend Mateo Kovacic. I think Sir Robert Sanchez should have done something about that ball. I don't agree Sir Robert Sanchez did enough. He didn't do enough in my opinion. He could have done better in that ball of our branch friend Mateo Kovacic too. Look at the XG 1.01 and 0.77. It's clear. Say Chelsea created the most chances, but they failed to convert. The conversion rate of Nicolas Jackson. See, say me who striker. Me show 2 things. Can the striker finish or not? And the first thing I measure, obviously. Say striker no, it's me finish here. They are there. That's the most important job. 2, say striker ain't me finish here. Does the striker have the basics? The basics. the technical ability, the hold-up play, the link-up play, to be a target man, the flips. Does a striker keep on going? The mental side of the job is very important to me, in my opinion. It's the first thing I look at when I look at Obi to say Nicholas Jackson is the fact that yes, the finishing is not there, but he has the basics. He has the basics. And the new thing that Nicholas Jackson in 2024, Nicholas Jackson has 16 non-penalty goals. 16 non-penalty goals. And you compare him to other strikers, compare him to other forwards, you know that he's in a class of some of these big boys. Yes, if you look at the City and Chelsea game, first one, it is down to the quality of Erling Haaland, the finishing ability of Erling Haaland. And Jackson isn't there. He has to do better in terms of the finishing ability going forward. He has to. But me, I'm worried, and I'm constantly supportive of Nicholas Jackson. Although, see, he makes me frustrated. When we train Nicholas Jackson, I get tired sometimes. But from a tactical point of view, I come back and I look at him and say, like, okay, fine. He has the basics. Now, compare Nicholas Jackson to somebody like Darwin Nunez. Darwin Nunez is a striker. Or no, need the finishing ability. Or no, basics, no sounds so like it. He lacks the basics. Darwin Nunez will give you pressing and then running the channels most of the times. But doesn't really have the basis of the link-up play, the hold-up play, all of those things. And the reason why Anslot doesn't necessarily fancy him and he wants to play Diogo Jota through the middle. These things are very, very important for me. I just wish that with time, I mean, it's this season. There is no time. For me, I've said it several times. Say, Abrante Nicholas Jackson can go on and better his conversion rate and then get goals, because Chelsea will need goals this season if you are not in that regard. Chelsea Kokoba against Wolverhampton Wanderers, they created less chances there, but the finishing was exquisite finishing from Noni Madueke, scoring a hat-trick, and of course that one also from Abrante Cole Palmer. XG of 1.96. Wolves, Chelsea created XG of 1.68. He conceded more XG against Wolves because in the first half, that gave me a very, very open pass. Big chances, 5-5. Chelsea Crystal Palace. Chelsea stopped Crystal Palace. It was just like side game against Man City, making sure so your opponent don't create chances. That XG is under 1. And Chelsea, making sure the Crystal Palace XG is 0.54. Chelsea big XG 2.387. When you can XG is essentially about the quality of chance, the quality of the chance. Say if I see will be any goal post number on the bank. Now say goalkeeper and them that's a higher XG because they expect 99% of the time they say shit. So if I see a goal palm on the same, it will have a lower XG. Another one to say break here as a goal is a very lower XG because nipa baby on the name goalkeeper and that pony me move. You don't expect say or shit. So that's exactly the explanation for XG. And you ask yourself, you look at this data, and you ask yourself, say, a day needs Enzo Maresca FXA coming after the international break. And I think that one thing that Chelsea have to fix, especially from that Wolves game, is more control. Again, time behind Chelsea, epic concede goal, beyond, they tend to depart away from their principles. Now, I remember a clinical example. Forget about the City game. Let's go to the Wolves and then the Crystal Palace game. Chelsea first good at Wolves ethical. Then you realize that Chelsea were GG. Now if you're worried. Then you were scared. They didn't know what to do. Then instead of maybe play 2 or 3 passes before the goal or they want to bypass and go and score, you are not going to win such a game. Again in the second half against Crystal Palace. Chelsea by Crystal Palace for Babette Kano with that Ebreche as a goal. Then Chelsea began to become GG. Before Ebreche as a equalizer. The team was controlling the game, more control ball, they playing between the lines, they were controlling the game largely. But immediately Crystal Palace gets the equalizer, then Chelsea begins to get jittery. For me, it's a more mental thing. It's part of the game. When the team concedes at that point in time, that is the time where you're even supposed to hold on to your principles the more. You're not supposed to depart from it. You need to make sure that in these times, you are more focused, you're sticking to the principles, then make sure that you play well. If Enzo Maresca can solve this mental blockade of the team that is jittery, that is worried, that is scared that they're going to lose a game, that is not happy, they're jittery, so okay, we can go back to our old place. It's more mental. They are going to be fine. and it's something that they need to look at very, very well. I don't know. I really want to know what you have to say about Chelsea manager friend Enzo Maresca and what you've made of in the first 3 games in the English Premier League. Where do you want to go from there? What are the things that you want to understand? What are the things that you want to get from him? What do you think of him? Do you think that he's good enough? How are you going to take it from here? Very, very important for me, for Enzo Maresca and in Ejumanoy. And of course, and right, there was a report said Chelsea player Cole Palmer, every England training. There's an update on Chelsea's injury issues. One, and he said Cole Palmer every England training, but nothing serious. Cole Palmer had a knock. Sobeka in the last game at Chelsea boy against Manchester City. That game, he had a knock in there. Or by he was seen to be fine. Now the medical team of Chelsea are trying to manage it. Now what they wanted to do is that they didn't want the boy to just say he's on call international training. They wanted him to go into a corner. They want to check the medical team of the Three Lions and Wakacho say, oh no, Nyansa, no quick. A couple of games ago, now still, I'm gonna manage it until he want to go back and let the Chelsea officials take good care of him very well until he'll go back. So he went in there, showed himself to the team. He has gotten back. Of course, Noni Madueke and Levi call out with the team. Hono Gallagher is also still with the Three Lions or Holland. Of course, Section of us still thinks that a Chelsea player. Cole Palmer not any big deal. Said out here, it is nothing to worry about. Just that the player just got started knock. He wanted to go and show himself to the medical team of the Three Lions and then get back and then let them also understand say Hanover, then continue the training our Cole. Again, Romeo Lavia air returning after the international break. And I've said it several times, if Chelsea will get consistency, Chelsea needs Romeo Lavia, the 20-year-old midfielder on Fiifi-Manfred. Also a game against Wolverhampton Wanderers, Maresca said was targeted. Every time they'll be or you get on the ball, the DM of Wolves will press him and then win the ball from him because Onye naturally press resistant. He is not the best ball retainer. He has the job that he does as an 8 box to box. He's an excellent player in that regard. But when you play him against teams which say Wolverhampton Wanderers, they will target him. Now Romeo Lavia is more of a ball retainer. He retains the possession, and again, because he's press resistant, he can play out of pressure. And I always go back to that instance against Manchester City. Almost ball to him in the first phase to build up, and Kevin De Bruyne keep him pressing. He opens up his body and he turns away out of the pressure from our brand friend Kevin De Bruyne. That's the quality of Romeo Lavia. And I've said it several times. Chelsea will need Romeo Lavia to be fit. Chelsea need him to be very, very fit. He has to be fit our games team. And from what I'm hearing, it was just an irritation, and he's getting better. The plan is that he's going to start training this week. Next week, in 2 weeks' time, at Chelsea best starting the English Premier League season. Best are returning. Romeo Lavia is going to return against Bournemouth, an important game away the Vitality. Chelsea would get a branch friend Romeo Lavia to be part of the team. And very important that Romeo Lavia gets back into the team. He's an important player for the team. Rhys James, however, Enzo and fully fit. He's going to return to training, however, after the international break. Malo goes to Supra and he'll pull it out of the French under 21 squad. And a big deal there was just a tire arbitration. He's going to be back. So when Bob back, I mean that at the right back, Chelsea Bebo Abrantia, your friend what's his name? Chelsea will play Abrantia for the Maresca, so that's right. But for him to invert, if Romeo Lavia is fit, and that Chelsea will get Romeo Lavia, Malo Gusto, Romeo Lavia, Maresca in front of the front three in terms of ball progression, even the rest defense, and then the rest will follow, which is also a good one because now Noni Madueke can casually keep the weight in the right hand side and then have Cole Palmer dropping into that area in there. Because one of the things I think that hurt Chelsea in the first game, in the last game at Chelsea ball against Crystal Palace was clear. And he said, so Chelsea ball against Crystal Palace because Cole Palmer was dropping in the first week, come and pick up the ball. There were times when in and around the final third where you want Cole Palmer to receive the ball, he wasn't getting the ball there, and when he gets there, he's tired and he doesn't really affect the game that much from there. So Chelsea would need the Romeo Lavia to come in next to Maresca, so to lead the press and the counter press in that area. Then Maresca, Cole Palmer can be in front of the 18-yard box next to Noni Madueke when he keeps the weight and Cole Palmer in there. Then you are going to have on the other side Pedro Neto in that regard. Then you have Nicolas Jackson, Enzo Fernandez also on the left hand space. Then Chelsea can break down low blocks when they do that against teams like that. So it's something that is going to be exciting once they return from everything that's going on in there. But I want to hear from you. What do you make of Chelsea Football Club, Enzo Maresca, Abrantia? if Jadon Sancho also returned to training for Chelsea in the last few days and are returning to training the first training ever with the squad no and it looks as if Chelsea are getting it there are a lot of quality in that regard Raheem Sterling Arsenal training, he seems to be getting very very sharp on the Arsenal players no quick training, trying to get on and make sure that everything goes on well for them. That was our police one. We wait to see how all of those things go on in there in terms of the quality and the style of play in there for Chelsea Football Club and all of them. I Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Thank you very much so much for here. I will be back later in the day. Bye.